恭敬大德生平，为此法会集结众生，经专了法轮，教导我们如何要生出离苦得速者无生。Will the Son always refer to out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and holy meeting? This truly wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to live suffering and assemblies and person death and quickly realize numbers.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Tassa bhagavato. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Namo saranto suchedoye halahudi sanyao sanputoshe. Wu shang shen shen wei miao fa bai qian wan jue nan yu. Wo jin jian wan de shou chi. Yuan jie ru lai zhen shi yi. Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Venerable Master, Dharma friends, good afternoon. My name is Heng Sure, and I'm here to join with you in investigating the Flower Garland Sutra. I want to express my appreciation for all of the hands and hearts and minds that have come together to make this broadcast possible, particularly 4 individuals who are tirelessly putting this online in a couple languages around the planet. And gratitude to our technological angels that make the internet happen around the planet. Today is Sunday, April 5th here in Australia, the Gold Coast of Queensland, and it's Saturday evening, the 4th, back in California and other places where people are watching. We're all, what do we call it, sheltering in place. We're all managing social distance. So there is not with the exception of the monks who live at the Berkeley Buddhist Monastery, Jinfo and Jinhe, Jinchuan and Jinwei, myself, and our novice Qinliang, there's nobody else in the monastery, maybe 10,000 Buddhas, we would hope, and bodhisattvas and dharma protectors, but the rest of us are watching online. So what we're about to do is look into the Flower Garland Sutra. This is called the Avatamsaka, and they say that when the Buddha first woke up, this is the first thing he expressed, the first thing he shared from under the Bodhi tree was the Flower Garland Sutra. So we're digging into a chapter called the 10 Stages chapter, and we're going deep. This is a profound part of the sutra. It's beyond the Four Noble Truths in one sense, although it's hard to go beyond the Four Noble Truths in any sense. But here the Buddha is, in this particular part of the chapter, he's teaching the bodhisattva who's about to graduate, this awakened being who is truly wise and truly compassionate. But the 10th stage out of 10 stages is where the bodhisattva puts the icing on the cake and then puts the cherry on the icing. So it's quite a wonderful part of the sutra. Now let's go into our text. First, we want to invoke spiritual presence. We're going to do that with the help of a Clifford Essex vintage banjo. That's our melody. And we're going to chant in Chinese, Namo Dafang Guangfo Huayan Jing, Huayan Hai Hui Fo Pusa, 7 times. Here's what it means. It means homage to the Buddha's Flower Garland Sutra, great expansive teachings, and the ocean-wide Flower Garland Assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That's what we're saying, only in Chinese. Here we go. Namo Dafang Guangfo Huayan Jing, Huayan Hai Hui Fo Pusa, Namo Dafang Guangfo Huayan Hai Hui Fo Pusa, Namo Dafang Jing, Huayan Hai Hui Fo Pusa, Namo Huayan Jing, Huayan Hai Hui Fo Pusa, Huayan Hai Hui Fo Pusa, Huayan Jing, Huayan Hai Hui Fo Pusa. One more. That's an archival voice from Great Britain. Where are we going in our text? We are going to a place where the Buddha has sent out light. Now, I'm going to invite everybody to contemplate a claim that is present out there in the Buddhist world. And you do the comparison yourself. You decide whether you agree with the claim that the Flower Garland Sutra, the Avatamsaka Sutra, is all about Buddhist philosophy and is too abstract and too lofty for us mere terrestrials to understand. See if you think that is the case. And of course, you get my drift, right? My point is that that's a stereotype propagated by people who probably never read the Flower Garland Sutra and may use that as an excuse to not read it, which to me is a shame. That's such a loss. What I find in today's text is rich narrative, a story of Buddhas, bodhisattvas, and devas, in this case, gods of the various heavens, behaving in ancient ritual fashion that has been part of our human heritage, part of our history, but is largely forgotten, except it's not. And you'll see what I mean as we go. All right. Now, we're going to start. We're going to go back to a passage we read in Chinese last time. Everybody who's following along with the text, we're on page 20 and page 22. 二页. We're starting with 当二之时释放所有受制菩萨 with that phrase, which is At that time, all the bodhisattvas, sorry, 不是, we're going to start with page 20, the next paragraph down. 20释放一切诸佛, from that place right there. The last paragraph on page 20. All right, here we go. 20释放一切诸佛，从眉间出清净光明，明增益一切智神通，无数光明一味眷属，普照十方一切世界，诱扰十匝，示现如来广大自在。We're going to go down, continue, down 2 more paragraphs. 开悟无量百千亿，哪有他？诸菩萨众，周遍震动一切佛刹，灭除一切诸恶道苦，隐蔽一切诸魔宫殿，使一切佛得菩提处，道场中会庄严威德，如是普照尽虚空遍法界一切世界已，而来至此菩萨会上，周匝右遍右绕，实现种种庄严之事，现世时已从大菩萨顶上而入，其眷属光明一个入彼诸菩萨顶。There it is. Your Mandarin should be, the more you study the sutra, the better our Mandarin gets. Here we go. We're within all the Buddhas. Ready? Then all the Buddhas throughout the 10 directions from between their eyebrows sent out pure lights called increasing wisdom's spiritual powers, accompanied by innumerably many lights. Those lights shone everywhere upon world systems throughout 10 directions, circumambulated to the right 10 times, and revealed the vast, effortless self-mastery of the Tathagata. The lights awoke multitudes of bodhisattvas, numbering limitless hundreds of thousands of kotis of Nayutas. They shook all Buddha lands. They dispelled the sufferings of beings in the paths of evil. They obscured all the demons' palaces. They showed where the Buddhas achieved Bodhi, as well as where multitudes assembled in the Buddhas' Bodhimandas, as well as their majesty and their virtues. This is how they radiated light on all world systems to the limits of empty space and throughout the Dharma realm, after which the lights arrived at the assembly of this Bodhisattva, circumambulated to the right, and revealed specific scenes that took place while creating the Bodhimanda. Once they performed these displays, they returned to merge into the crown of the head of this great Bodhisattva. The lights that followed also merged into the crowns of the heads of all the Bodhisattvas. Okay, that's it. Hold on here. I sent a note to my SysOp. Check that note, please, Jerry and Locke. What has happened in our sutra is the Buddhas have sent out light. The light goes out from the Buddha's eyebrows, and it does things. Okay. Then light has a name called increasing wisdom spiritual powers. We had bodhisattvas in the last week's part of the text sending out a light called eradicating demonic enmity. So a light that destroys the demon's hatreds. Now this light from the Buddhas is called increasing wisdom spiritual powers. And lights came out to support and surround that major light. increasing wisdom, spiritual powers. Good name for a light. Right? And what does it do? The light goes out and shines on world systems. So this is a cosmic event, right? The scope of the Flower Garland Sutra is vast and amazing, right? This is, now watch what the light does. Here's what Buddha's lights do. They do what? They circle around world systems in the north, south, east, west, intermediate, above and below directions, 10 directions, 10 times circling to the right. Remember our discussion of the swastika the last 2 weeks, turning to the right? Well, it's doing it again here. And the lights show what's called the vast, effortless self-mastery of the Tathagata. We talked about that before too, meaning that's the Ishvara, that word that's hard to translate. Comfortable, at ease, free, easy, totally in charge of itself. This is a light that arises from where? And I gotta say it, this cosmic light release, like the sun, comes from your mind, comes from my mind, comes from Aunt Gertrude's mind, Uncle Jim. That's where this comes from. We've got this programmed in us, this capacity, but we have to set it free through removing what covers it, the ignorance and the greed and the fear and the emotion and the attachments and the desires, right? Covering over that light, but look at what is inside waiting for us to do that. What else does the light do? It wakes up bodhisattvas. That light shines out and bodhisattvas go, yes, I remember. That rings a bell deep inside. I want to be a better person. I want to try harder. I want to get rid of my habits. And it says, numbering limitless hundreds of thousands of kotis of nayutas, many, many bodhisattvas wake up when the light hits them. The light causes earthquakes, shook Buddha lands, but harmless earthquakes. No damage done, no jobs lost. It dispels the sufferings of beings in the paths of evil, is what the light does. It obscures demons' palaces. This is interesting, right? We had Bodhisattva's light eradicating demons' enmity. What's going on here is places where demons live get obscured. What does that mean? The light chases shadows. There's that beautiful image of a single candle can eradicate darkness gathered in a room for 1,000 years. No matter how old the darkness is, no matter how long the inky black darkness has been in a house, as soon as you light a candle, as soon as you turn on the torch, as soon as you take your smartphone's flashlight and turn it on, that darkness is eradicated. It's gone. A single match can, in a cave, can light up the darkness. So the lights the Buddhas release do this to the demons' palaces, right? And so this light says, okay, you want to be bad over there in the shadows? Sure, let me shine this light on you. Give you a little more light here. You can see what you do. Oh, all your bad, you don't want to do it now because people can see? I thought so, right? So how wonderful that you don't have to kill demons. You don't have to smash demons. You just shine a light and they're revealed and they can't stay, right? So how much mischief is done in the dark? I like what's the byline of the Washington Post? Democracy dies in darkness, right? Right. So shine a light. Democracy flourishes where people see and go, oh, that's not right. That's not just. That's not fair. That's not right. We're going to do it justifiably. We're going to bring justice. We're going to bring the waters of justice down like a mighty torrent from the mountains. Right? I have a dream. So shine light. Democracy flourishes where people's hearts get visibility, where we can see it. We go, oh, that's not right. No, do it right. Be fair. Yeah. So that's what light, the Buddha's light does. They showed where the Buddhas achieved Bodhi, as well as where multitudes assembled in the Buddha's Bodhimanda. What's a Bodhimanda? It's a place of practice, as well as their majesty and their virtues. Right? So these lights shine out and you see stories. We talked last week a lot about sacred stories, and I mentioned what a blessing it is to be able to be a sacred storyteller, just to try my best to expose these texts, to reveal these texts, and just to say, man, look, these are amazing stories. Amazing stories. They've been told for millennia, but you have to open them up. You have to take the time to get the language tools to see what they mean. And even then, we're just holding up that candle, right, in a vast ancient library, seeing what we can see in that little bit of light. Of course, if we had more light, if we had more wisdom, we could do a better job. And that's why we cultivate. So here's a story. The lights do what? They tell stories. They show where Buddhas woke up and the hard work it took and the courage it took and the giving, the generosity it took, the kindness that it took to achieve awakening, as well as where people gathered to listen to the Buddha speak and the majesty and the virtues of the Buddhas. Take a break here, take a little break. So I'm going to reach for that text called Maitreya, right? You got that one? Everybody's got one. Sudana learns about Maitreya. Last week, I mentioned how there's another story in the same sutra of the youth Sudana, good wealth. His name is Goodness and Wealth. And he goes on a pilgrimage. And on his pilgrimage, he's out there looking for, oops, hold on here, lost my video. There we go. Sudana is looking to wake up. He's been predicted to awakening. He can awaken. He can do it. He can go to Buddhahood in this lifetime. So he sets out interviewing 52 or 53 teachers, depending on how you count the number. And his next to final teacher -2 is Maitreya Bodhisattva. Not the fat Maitreya, not the fat happy Buddha, a different image of the same Buddha and Bodhisattva. And Maitreya sees him and says, oh, here he comes. He's done it. He's been to 50 teachers and he's been successful. This person, this pilgrim can hold the Dharma. He is a zaifa qi, a vessel that can contain the Dharma. And he gives him this prediction. And then he praises the Putishin, the Bodhi resolve. Oh, it's just, golly, in terms of literary epics, that's inaccurate. Literary gems. This passage of the sutra deserves a literary treatment, historical treatment, a Buddha Dharma treatment, an analysis. But people mostly, because it hasn't been in English long enough, probably. All of you Dharma Realm Buddhist University students out there, here's a plug. Give me an acknowledgement in your credits, but somebody needs to take Maitreya's Welcome to Sudana and treat it as a piece of literature. It holds up. It is brilliant. He praises the Bodhi resolve in 100 metaphors. It's just fabulous. Most people don't know about it because why? They haven't opened it. Thank Master Shren Hua, our founder, for explaining this text every night for 9 years, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday. So we have a chance to dig into this and find out what's there. Let me give an example. Last week we said when Sudana finally enters this Pilu Zhena Rulai Zhuangyan Loga, right? Vairochana Tathagata's magnificent pavilion. When he goes in there, he sees all of the decorations. And last week I showed our Buddha hall here, which has incredible adornments, right? Look at what's over my head here. Astonishing. Beautiful Buddha hall here in Queensland. And when Sudana goes into the tower, he sees in every single aspect of adornment, from every wall tile, from every rug, from every lamp, from every candle, from every Dharma implement, he sees, just as if it was an advertising kiosk at the mall, only better, right? Even better than that. He sees these moving images on every surface of what? Of Maitreya Bodhisattva's past lives cultivating when he was, as they say, on the causal ground, the ground of causes. Further, what does he see? The sutra goes on to describe, he sees himself in each image paying respect to Maitreya. So Sudana and Maitreya have this amazing relationship of teacher and disciple, or cultivator and fan supporter. But all of these places inside the pagoda where a surface can show a story is alive with stories of Maitreya's past life, of generosity, of self-sacrifice, of discipline, of courage, of speaking truth to power, right? Of standing strong when the wind was blowing, of making it through pandemics and helping others. The stories coming out of the hospitals in New York City at the moment are heartbreaking. Just read some of the accounts of what the medical professionals are having to do as 5, 6 people come to the door at once, all needing to be intubated and put on ventilators, and they have to somehow make it work. And they themselves feel like their throats are scratchy, right? This kind of self-sacrifice. Maitreya has done it all in every past life, and they're showing up. Okay, here's an example. What was our text? Let's take one more look at our text. It says, it showed where Buddhas achieve Bodhi, as well as their multitudes assembled in their Bodhimandas and their majesty and their virtues. So that's what it is. It's past lives where the Buddhas were cultivating. All right. I'm going to read these 3 paragraphs, starting with, at that time, the youth Sudana, not they, the youth Sudana. Okay, just to give you a feeling. This is from not the 10 stages chapter, it's from a chapter further on in the sutra called Ru Fa Jie, the entering the Dharma realm chapter. I'll just give you a flavor of how this might be. Okay, here we go. Ready? At that time, the youth Sudana saw all kinds of inconceivable states of self-mastery in the adorned tower of Vairochana. He gave rise to great happiness. He leapt for joy, which was boundless. He became soft and pliant in body and mind. He was free from all thoughts. He was rid of all obstacles. He destroyed all delusions. He did not forget what he saw. He could remember what he heard, and his thoughts were not confused. He entered the door of unobstructed liberation, transported his mind everywhere, saw everything everywhere, and extended his respectful worship everywhere. Only when he began to bow his head did he personally see, because of the power of the awesome spirit of the Bodhisattva Maitreya, his own body extend everywhere in all the towers. He completely saw all kinds of inconceivable states of self-mastery as described below. Specifically, he saw that the Bodhisattva Maitreya, when he first brought forth the unsurpassed Bodhi mind, had a certain name, belonged to a certain clan, was enlightened by certain wholesome friends who made him plant certain good roots, that he lived certain lengths of time during certain kalpas, encountered certain Buddhas, dwelt in certain adorned eons, cultivated certain practices, and made certain vows. All those Tathagatas had certain assemblies and some lifespans, passing through a very long time. He personally drew near to them, made offerings to them. All of this the youth saw very clearly. There you go, right? Now, just to show you, this document goes on, or the youth saw Maitreya, or he saw Maitreya as a wheel-turning sage king, or he saw Maitreya living in the world of Yama, or etc., right? So one thing to say about this passage, we're going right back to our own text, the 10 stages, but I wanted to show you what's the riches available in this sutra. What that text is describing, I think, now I think Master Hua was the one to say this and put the seed in my mind. But when Sudana enters that tower, that pavilion, the Avatamsaka Sutra is describing what it's like to attain Buddhahood, right? Let's make it more organic. Why do I won't talk about you, I don't know about you, but I know, why am I not a Buddha now? Well, one of the reasons, you could say, many reasons, one reason would be that my mind is still bound up in language and thought. From using Buddhist language, I'm still in a dual world where there's me and you. I'm inside my body and hit my mind somewhere looking out at all of you outside, right? Duality. I'm still bound up in this world, this relative world, where my thoughts have to come out in grammatically correct language, and I have to understand you the same way. Now, there are people who will tell you that when someone transcends duality and becomes a Buddha, it's because, you might say, certain chemicals have been released in the body and mind that allow that person to process sense input without limitation. We know that our eyes, for example, are bound by the electromagnetic spectrum. I can't see gamma rays. I can't see infrared. I can't see ultraviolet, right? My visual spectrum is really limited. But what if my eyes lost those chemical limits, biochemical limits, and I could suddenly see all things using my eyes? Suppose my ears could hear sounds like even a dog, better than me, right, can hear, or a cat at night, or a possum sitting on my railing listening for pythons coming near, or other possums, right? Watch a possum with their ears swiveling at night, right? Any of those limitations, losing those limits would allow me to see, hear, smell, taste, sense, and receive the 360 sensory input around me and not go crazy. Could that be something like what Buddhahood? I don't know. But Sudana, suddenly going into Vairochana's tower, is able to perceive all manner of inputs. And he's interested. He is a pilgrim. He's been seeking a teacher who could teach him how to wake up, right? How do I cultivate bodhisattva practices? How do I walk the bodhisattva path? Those are his questions that he asks 52 times over and over, right? So that's what he's looking for. And he enters this pavilion, and on all sides, he sees Maitreya Bodhisattva in the past doing these acts of cultivation. And suddenly it's all available to him without limits. Is that something like enlightenment? I don't know. But it's the after this visit, he only has 2 more before the chapter ends and the sutra's done. One is Manjushri, who from world systems away reaches out a hand and pats the crown of Sudana's head and says, well done. I started you on your pilgrimage. I'm congratulating you on the conclusion. Well done. And then there's one more, and that's Samantabhadra, who answers, finally, the last answer to Sudana's questions. And he teaches him 10 practices and vows. And that's a lecture for another time, but that's it. That's the end of this sutra, right? Is this pilgrim who enacts all of the 10,000 practices of Samantabhadra. Okay, as we started today, I asked people to contemplate that question: is this philosophy? That would be kind of impoverished, right? A kind of a left brain theory. No, it's not. It's instructions. It's a handbook, and it's encouragement. It's fuel for your great vehicle, right? To get out on the Bodhi road and cover the ground, cover some miles, to practice and walk like Sudana. So he is truly, that is epic literature, called the Ganda Vyuha, the Ru Fa Jiepin, the chapter on entering the Dharma realm. That is epic literature. Think Rime of the Ancient Mariner, think Odysseus, right? Gilgamesh, these epics of heroes who go out on these quests and have to reach for strength they didn't have until they needed to, and there it was. And they get wounded in their journey, and they grow, and they come back successful after their spiritual quest. Well, Sudana, seeking Buddhahood in the Avatamsaka, is Mahayana tradition's epic literature. It is spectacular literature. There's poetry, there's songs, there's fear that he overcomes, there's kindness and compassion that gathers him in. It is truly mind expanding, to say the least. So, okay, that's an illustration of what happened just now to our bodhisattva, right? The lights showed where the Buddhas achieved Bodhi, as well as where multitudes assembled in the Bodhi mandas, as well as their majesty and their virtues. Okay, then there's a summary. This is how they radiated light on all world systems to the limits of empty space and throughout the Dharma realm. After which, the lights arrived at the assembly of this bodhisattva, circumambulated to the right, and revealed specific scenes that took place while creating the Bodhimanda. The lights did a history tour in 10 directions and then came back and did the same right here, right in this current assembly of the 10th stage. The summaries of the summary. Once they performed these displays, they returned to merge into the crown of the head of the great bodhisattva. The lights that followed also merged into the crowns of the heads of all the bodhisattvas. So that's what Buddha's lights do. They came out of the space between the Buddha's eyebrows, went out to worlds of 10 directions, circled 10 times, and then did all this stuff, right? Amazing. They showed the self-mastery of the Tathagata, woke up bodhisattvas, made the earth quake, got rid of the suffering of beings in the paths of evil, emptied the hells, the animals, and the ghosts, lit up the demons' palaces, making the demons not want to live there in the full glare of the spotlight, showed histories of bodhisattvas on the path just to inspire us, then shone light on world systems, and then came back, circled around, went into the crown of the head of the bodhisattvas, and the following lights did the same. Whew. That's what Buddha's lights do. Kinds of karmic deeds. Okay, next, let's see here. Did I read that one? Okay, we have some Chinese to read. Here we go. This is 当尔之时此菩萨. Here we go. 当尔之时此菩萨得先所谓的百万三昧，名为宜得受持之位，入佛境界， 居足实力，堕在佛树. Just then, this bodhisattva attained hundreds of thousands of unprecedented samadhis. This is known as having been appointed and merging with the state of a Buddha, replete with the 10 powers, and being included among the Buddhas. All right, more samadhis followed, and this is familiar ground if you've been reading along with us, because the ninth stage bodhisattva had entered samadhis that allowed his eloquence to come forth, and prior in this stage, the 10th stage, the bodhisattva accomplished incredible samadhis which produced a lotus flower. So samadhis are meditative states. And I'm going to suppose to everybody who's watching, that those of you who are sheltering in place, those of you who are quarantining yourselves at home, and more states in America, bit by bit, have been shutting down. States here in Queensland and states here in Australia, bit by bit, have been closing their doors because the reality in the hospitals is now coming home. India has shut down, right? People are realizing that the only way to allow those who are sick to get the help they need is to take the pressure off the medical professionals who otherwise would be swamped by too many needs at once and impossible to get enough masks, ventilators, tubes, full body protection, face shields, etc. All the things that the doctors need to not fall sick, to deal with your family members who need the help, right? The only way to let that happen is to reduce the pressure, fewer people coming all at once to the hospital. So we're at home for that reason. That's how to do it. So at home, what can you do? What are you going to do? What are you doing? Oh, the stories of what people are doing at home. I'm going to suggest a really wholesome thing to do would be to document it. Pick up your word processor. Remember, do you ever have a word processor? Do we have word processors anymore? Used to be, remember a Wang, W-A-N-G? My sister Liz was trained on a Wang when she was a secretary, executive secretary. That was a dedicated word processor. Oh boy. Now word processors come in this form, right? They come in the form of a smartphone. You just type with your thumbs. Word processors have gotten very small. Anybody have a smart watch? Are there word processors on smart watches? That would be taking it to an extreme. But get out your word processor, get out your pencil and your yellow pad, and write down what's happening that comes to your ears. Put a date on it. It helps if you have a sense, something you saw, something you felt, something you heard. It was chilly today. The jonquils and the lilies are poking out of the ground, green shoots coming out. It's spring in the northern hemisphere. It's autumn here in the southern hemisphere. Just write it down. It helps it come back later. And document it. Just tell the story. It may seem like insignificant or maybe too much work now. Later, a year from now, 2 years from now, whenever people read your account, it's going to come back and we'll remember how humans responded to this extreme crisis. We're in a time of extreme crisis right now. And what happens is we get tested and the best of us comes out and the worst of us comes out. We find out really what we're made of when they say push comes to shove, right? When it comes right down to where the sandals meet the pavement, where the sandals meet the meet the path, right? Where the rubber meets the road, we discover what we're made of. And people at the bleeding edge right now are the medical professionals. So, sure enough, while this is going on, we can jot down, become a citizen journalist, become a journalist, one who writes a journal, one who documents. Just jot it down. It'll pay off later. My teacher's advice to me and my companion at the time, Marty Verhoeven, former Bhikshu Hung Chao, I was on a pilgrimage, and his instructions to me were, doesn't matter what else you do today, but write down whatever it is you do. If you don't eat, that's not important. Writing down what's going on is important. And if you can make what happens to you correspond with the principles of the Flower Garland Sutra, it'll last. A lot of it, he says, is kind of like Kleenex, kind of like a piece of toast on the top of a garbage can, stuff nobody wants. But the gems that will survive are when the events of the day illuminate principles of the sutra, illustrate the principles of the sutra. That's worth reading, he said. So with that instructions, it was really clear. That's what Master Hua wanted myself and Marty to do. So we did. We wrote down, we bowed for an hour and wrote down for 20 minutes what was going on. Bowed for an hour and wrote for 20 minutes. It also gave us a chance to catch our breath in between an hour of slow bowing and traveling. But the result was 10 volumes of journals, 9 of which have been published, and the 10th is on the way, and also letters. So I'm going to say, while we are in quarantine, while we're behind the doors, I'm doing it. I'm writing down the things that I see and hear. And another thing we can do is meditate. By golly, how long have you been thinking about one of these days you're going to dig in to your mind? I bet a lot of us have had that thought, and now is a chance, right? Here's the bodhisattvas obtaining hundreds of thousands of unprecedented samadhis, and they even have names, right? Well, they didn't start with unprecedented samadhis. They started with crossing their legs and sitting still and putting the cat outside the door. Talk to you later, kitty. You go sniff outside in the corridor. I'm going to meditate now. I don't want you in my lap. Puppies, yeah, puppies love to interrupt your samadhi. What are you doing sitting there? You're supposed to be playing with me. They drop the ball in your lap. Throw the ball, right? So put the dog in a place where you can meditate. And sometimes you have to go in the closet. Give the room to the dog, but you go in the closet to meditate, right? Sit down and be still and just let it settle. Let all the stuff settle. Let your ears turn in, let your eyes turn in. Eyes contemplate the nose contemplates the mouth, and mouth contemplates the mind, which is usually spinning. Too much input, too much doubt, too much worry, right? Let it settle. It will settle. And if you do it regularly and increase it a little bit, every week, every month, boy, before long, unprecedented samadhi. Where could samadhi come from other than practice of stilling the body and mind? This one has a name, having been appointed and merging with the state of a Buddha, replete with the 10 powers and ultimately being included among the Buddhas. Oh boy. Okay. What have we got? We got a document. Sam and Cliff, I'm going to ask you to pick up the 10 wisdom powers document there. Here we go. Look at this. I told you we're going deep today. Here it is. What are the 10 wisdom powers? This will be on the quiz at the end, so take notes, right? That is to say, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have something called the 10 wisdom powers. And there are different lists. But here's a good standard list. The lists usually change the order or add one or lose one, but there's 10 always. And the first one is, if you are at this stage, you are able to take a look at somebody who you want to help. Maybe it's your spouse. Somebody you want to bring the magic back in your relationship. Or maybe it's your child. You want to understand what in the world is in their mind that they could do this such a thing. Some relationship, someone you know who you want to serve, who you want to help out. And these abilities arise. These are tools for teaching and helping and serving. If you have that situation, suppose it's your mom. Your mom is just not happy these days, and she looks at you and thinks, you're a kid, you don't know anything. You came from me. I don't need to listen to you, right? But you are determined to help your mom get through her her depression, her attachments, her doubts, whatever state of mind she's stuck in. And you, with that wish, know what is the case and what is not the case. You understand true, fei chu, you know, you look and this is true. That's illusion, delusion, right? If you had that power, it helps. It helps you figure out your mom. Next, you know what? You know what is her karma, because your samadhi is so sensitive. You take one look at your mom and somehow you're able to see, because you have this wisdom, you're able to see her habits. What is karma other than action that's repeated? And it brings on the reaction. Karma is action and its results. Right? That's all it is. Karma is a neutral word. It doesn't mean bad. It means you did this and that was the result. It's cause and effect clearly mapped out in the pattern. If you had that ability, oh, that's why she does that. She can't help it. I have to get her to do it differently next time, right? Now, you have the wisdom power of Zhu Chan Jie Tuo, the power that knows dhyana, samadhis, and the liberations. You are a meditation master, and you can use those skills to come up with something that you never said it that way before. You say it that way, and she goes, oh, I get it. I get it. That's Zhi Li, right? Wisdom power. Okay, look at this, number 4. With this ability, you look at a living being, maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your dad, maybe it's someone else that you really care about, that you want to help out, and you understand zhu gan sheng lie, zhi li. You understand whether they're an ear person, a visual person, whether they're a do they have a deep sense of faith, or are they more rational? Do they go on intuition, or are they completely sense-based, right? You understand them immediately. You know exactly how to teach them, how to help them, right? What if you had number 5, zhong zhong jie zhi li, understandings? Your mom happens to be someone who is very kind-hearted, but not too bright, maybe. And that's a harsh thing to say, but you've lived with her your whole life, you know. She is really kind. She understands kindness. So if you use harshness, it won't work. You have to use kindness if you want to touch her heart. That wisdom power tells you that information. You have a chance to help her, right? What's number 6? The wisdom power of understanding beings' realms. Zhong zhong jie zhi li, right? You understand that your mom in the distant past was actually a deva. Could be. She had all those blessings. She was in the heavens, but she left the heavens. And yet she has a sense of nostalgia, wistfulness, because she used to have such a different realm. And now she's back in the human body. and she misses the heavens, right? So there's always a sense of sadness around her for something lost. If you know that, you can help, right? Look at number 7. This one is a little subtle, which is what? 一切智所到，智力. You are able to know with the first step where that path is going to wind up. Imagine if you had that ability, you'd never make a false step. Everything that you did would count. Every step you took towards helping someone would be effort used to the good. How many times have you come up with a way to help and wound up falling back? 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? With this ability, 知一切之所到之, you never make a false move, right? Wow, incredible. Number 8, what is number 8? 天眼无碍智力. You have the Deva eye. You have the celestial eye. We're not calling it the heavenly eye. Heavenly eye sounds like an adjective. Oh, it's heavenly. No, it's not. It's a Deva's eye, celestial eye. With this ability, you understand parallel realms in the heavens and also in the hells. You're able to see beyond this realm into other Dharma realms. It's one of the 5 eyes that we talked about in the Vajra Sutra lecture. And with this ability, you understand consequences. You can see what will increase blessings and what will increase offenses. And you can guide the person you're with in the direction you want to go. Number 9 is one of the Shantong, as is number 8, one of the psychic powers. You know past lives without errors. And our sutra, the Avatamsaka, talks about this particular power. Oh my goodness. The ability, the things you know when you have this, the Su Ming Tong, are astonishing. You can know in incredible detail what your mom was, where she lived, what her name was, who her father was, right? The person her friends, what she ate. And with this knowledge, you're able to teach her. Okay, and the last one, 永断习气智. This ability, this wisdom power, is able to make a change, make a difference, right? You don't just same old, same old. It's different this time because you've cut off Shi Qi. This is helpful to us because why? You realize the power of habits. And I might say we also realize the power of friends along with this, because why? Suppose you finally get it together to change. You make a resolve, you decide you're not gonna fall into the old ways, but then knock, knock, knock. Oh, your buddies are here. Oh, they want me to go out, want me to go with them, right? Oh boy, our friends don't want us to grow and change because then the pressure's on them to grow or change or be left behind. Who wants to do that? So, man, the power of habit. And this is 永断习气. There's a way of talking about our lives as streams of consciousness that just flow along. And the seeds of behavior in those streams, just like a creek running down a creek bed, the energy of those seeds has a force, like a current in a river. And if you've ever been caught in a riptide, we're here in the Gold Coast, and Gold Coast has some of the world's finest beaches and surfing along those beaches. Now, I'm not a surfer and I'm not much of a beach goer, but I watch other folks love the beaches here in the Gold Coast. And one of the things that people need to know before they get in the water is riptides. And riptides pull us, they have a certain pattern as the water comes across the sandy beach, sandy bottom, and then circles back. And if you get caught in a riptide, there's instructions that everybody needs to know about how to deal with those currents. And once you're in them, you cannot fight them. You can't fight them. You have to relax and go with it and go counter sideways, 90 degrees to the rip. If you try to fight against it, you'll get tired and you'll be at risk of drowning. That's why the lifeguards here on the Gold Coast are so appreciated and valuable. They have hard work pulling surfers and swimmers and tourists out of the rip tides. So you don't fight them. Our habits are just like those riptides, right? And it's really hard to swim against the current of habits. And yet we can if we have wisdom. And if you know that someone you care about is caught in those habits, my goodness, imagine if we had, like the bodhisattvas here, had the Yongduan Shi Qi, truly had this ability to help us cut off forever our bad habits. How powerful, right? Now, what are our modern methods of dealing with these habits? Pills, medicine, right? We take medicine to get us out of our depression. And sometimes that is absolutely what we need to do. It's a godsend or it's a medicine, it's a doctor send, right? When we can take a pill and those habits are diminished or suppressed, but that is a coping mechanism. It's not a cure, right? What the bodhisattva is proposing here is an actual cure, right? A cure of those old habits. So you do it yourself. I am my own therapist. I'm my own healer. And one of the benefits of having a community around us, of fellow cultivators, is friends who can help, friends who do not reinforce the old habits, but instead encourage and support the new habits, or the absence of the old habits, that is to say. So that's the optimal situation. And that's why somebody would leave home and become a monastic, is to join a community of like-minded souls who are focused entirely on that process of changing. I remember one of Marty's favorite memories of Master Hsuan Hua is, I think everybody has their own story about favorite memory of Master Hsuan Hua, but the favorite teaching. But I remember one day he had an opportunity and he said, Shifu, what did the Buddha teach? And Master Hua just like that, he said, everyone must change. That was his answer. That's what the Buddha taught. That's the most important part. Everyone must change. And it was so inelegant, right? That's not an elegant answer. That's not a lofty, profound, we are all one, not like, he's like, everyone must change. And there's a subtext, if you are drawn to doing what the Buddha did. And that sounds hard, but that's from a real teacher who was into tough love, if that helped. But not everybody is. And a good teacher at other times gives us the most gentle of encouragement. Everyone must change is tough love, right? If you can, guess what? You can help others. And that's the greatest joy. That's the giving of material goods, the giving of courage, the giving of Dharma. You're enabled once we change. Okay, so our bodhisattva Yongduan Shi Qi, truly, they've cut off bad habits forever. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, right? So those are the 10 wisdom powers. What did our text say about that? How cool was that? Here we go. It said, just then the Bodhisattva attained hundreds of thousands of unprecedented samadhis. This is known as having been appointed and merging with the state of the Buddha, replete with the 10 powers, and being included among the Buddhas. Yeah. Someday, be in there. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to read 2 more paragraphs and prepare us for next week when we're going to go deeper into it. I've been talking about this. This is the anointing of the crown, the consecration on the top of the head. This is, as I said, an ancient ceremony. It's a ritual found in many cultures. This is not exclusive to Buddhism at all. This is, in Hinduism, it's how you become a chakravartin. Chakra, we know that word, chakras, right? The 7 turning wheels in the body, energy centers. Well, chakra with a C means wheel. And a wheel turning monarch, a king who turns a wheel, is an actual figure out of Hindu mythology, out of Brahmanist mythology, out of Christian mythology, interestingly. And wheel turners in various religions all have this deva king. I can't say that. Not all religions. There are religions that have been talking about Chakravartin kings from the earliest origins of their teachings, of their Dharma, back in the misty past of their stories. Their stories have these beings, these incredible spiritual rulers who are half in the world and half in the space, right? Mythological, yes, absolutely mythological, not meaning false or made up, but meaning coming from the root stories, how we identify true authority, Chakravartin kings. We're going to find out a lot about them in the next couple of weeks, but here they are. Let's read the Chinese first and then point to them, and then we have some other things to talk about. Here we go. 佛子入转轮圣王，所生太子，母是正后，身相具足。其转轮王令赐太子，作白香宝，妙金之作。张大王幔，见大床幡，燃香散花。走住音乐，取似大海水，至金瓶内，王至此瓶，冠太子顶。是时即命受王职位，堕在馆顶，插立王树，既能具足行十善道。以得名位转论声王. Okay, here it is. Ready? Disciples of the Buddha, just as when a prince is born to a wheel-turning monarch and his mother is the queen, he develops all the requisite physical hallmarks. The wheel-turning monarch sets his son, the prince, on a splendid gold throne on top of a white elephant. They unfurl latticework curtains and lift up big banners and pennants, then light incense, strew flower petals, and play music. Water from the 4 oceans fills a golden vessel, which the king holds to anoint the crown of the prince. This is known as being appointed to the rank of a king. Ever after, the prince is counted as a Kshatriya king who has been anointed on the crown. He immediately is able to practice the 10 wholesome paths, and he is called a wheel-turning monarch. Yes. Okay. We've been there in all of these 10 stages. We've been on this years now. We've been lecturing on the 10 stages chapter for years. And I remember clearly, might have been 2000, when was it? 2010 or something like that, 2002, 12, when I said, everyone, I need to say I've had a wish my whole life as a monk that someday I would get to investigate together the 10 stages chapter. I don't think I'll ever get the chance, but the day has come and we're starting the 10 stages chapter. I remember saying that, and sure enough, we're almost finished with the 10 stages chapter. And this is a big chapter. It's a long, lengthy text. And of these 10 stages, every one follows a pattern of request, denial, and then repeated request, denial, request from the Buddha, acceptance, explanation, preparation, praises, then the instructions. Comes the new material, comes the curriculum unit, right? Where the new information is there for a bodhisattva to study, should he or she want to become a bodhisattva of the first, second, third, fourth, up to the 10th stage. Then there's some boilerplate text that adds increments. He sees Buddhas, then more Buddhas, then more Buddhas. He is born in certain places of the heavens going up. He enters X number of samadhis, etc. And then there's an image of gold. It says he's like gold, which when smelted becomes ever more pure and refined. That's the boilerplate parts. Then there's repeated verses. Okay, so that's our chapter, and the instructions are incredible. First one is happiness, right? The second one is morals, ethics, precepts. The third one is if they follow the paramitas. Third one is patience. The fourth is vigor. The fifth is samadhi. The sixth is wisdom. The 12 links of conditioned awakening are taught. Right? Then on up, 7, 8, 9. The ninth was all about eloquence, right? Oh my, we talked about once you have that dharani, what you can do. Wowee. Well, here we are in the 10th stage. And the content, the instructions on the 10th stage here is about how to become how a Dharma prince and a Dharma king is able to function. The water of Dharma that this bodhisattva's mind can hold is the topic. How much? What this bodhisattva knows on the 10th stage. And he's almost a Buddha. So another way to think about this entire process is the mind is being refined. Even at the 10th stage, the bodhisattva's mind still has a certain amount of ignorance. And bit by bit, that ignorance is going away. It's being dispelled by the light of wisdom. And the bodhisattva is able to function in new ways. Amazing, incredible how this bodhisattva's mind, just like your mind, with the gold being refined and is heading towards 24 karat, right? Pure gold. What is the assayed value of my mind right this minute? I don't think there's any test that we can take to tell you what amount of dross is still there, if it's gold at all, right? It might be fool's gold, who knows? So bit by bit, the mind and the gold get refined as we proceed. So we're right at that next to the penultimate point, to the ultimate point of the 10 stages, where the bodhisattva is pretty much 24 karat gold. What follows after that is verses. We get to run through the whole process again in verse form. So it rhymes. Whether we'll sing it, we'll sing it. We'll definitely sing it. Speaking of which, Medicine Buddha. We are in recent memory, in our lifetimes, unprecedented times. And people are looking for answers in all directions. What does religion have to, what can religion help with? What can science help with? What can diplomacy? As we receive medical aid from Vietnam, we receive medical aid from China, we receive masks and ventilators and parts for ventilators, all these different kinds of things, whatever works, because humanity is struggling right now. So one of the things that we have in the Mahayana tradition is a Buddha whose name is Medicine Buddha. In Chinese, it's Yao Shi Guanding, Yao Shi Rulai, Yao Shi Liu Li Guang Rulai, Jiu Shao Zai Yan Shou, Yao Shi Fo. He's got three names: Medicine Buddha, Medicine Master. He's called Medicine Master of Vaidurya Light, Lapis Lazuli Light. He's also called the Buddha who dispels calamities and lengthens light. Three names. And one of the things that this Buddha teaches is a mantra. We know about this Buddha because of a sutra. And Shakyamuni Buddha, our historical Buddha, talked about another Buddha, Medicine Buddha, Lapis Lazuli, the Buddha of Lapis Lazuli Light, by Sagyaraj Guru, his name is. And by Sagyaraj Vaidurya Prabhasa Tathagata, that's his Sanskrit name, Yao Shi Luli Guangrula. And there's a mantra that comes with him. And in our tradition, we go like this. Namo Boche Fari Bisha Shi Julu Bilioli Mola Pohola Shuye Nado Chedo Ye Ula Huri Samya Sambu Dozhi Tonan Bisha Shi Bisha Shi Bisha Shi Sanmo Jeri So Namo Boche Fadi Bisha Julu Bilioli Bola Pohola Shuye Dato Chedo Ye Ula Hudi Samya Samputo Ye Dozhi Tonan Bisha Shi Bisha Shi Bisha Shi Sanmo Jeri So. That's the mantra in sinicized Sanskrit, in Chinese pronunciation of Sanskrit. So we were at Buddha Root Farm, our summer camp that has been put on hold while we're quarantining ourselves. And my Dharma friend and musical mentor, Fabrizio Alberico, and I sat on the deck outside the Buddha Hall and came up with a melody for the Sanskrit, the original Sanskrit of the Medicine Buddha mantra. And I'm going to invite everybody who would care to do so to join me. Here it is on the screen, if you can see it. Let's see here. We need Kandari. Let's try that. There we go. Let's do it that way. This is an eminently chantable mantra. And the melody is simple, and I think you'll enjoy it. Here's how it goes. And we're gonna do it 3 times and see how it sounds. That's the melody. And now key, I think, doesn't matter whether you sing it in sinicized Sanskrit, whether you chant it in Sanskrit or translate it into English. Baisaje, Baisaje, Maha Baisaja says, to the healing, to the healing, to the great healing, may it be so. Swaha. May all things be auspicious. Om. Right? So the important thing is to, like with all mantras, you don't want to grab for the meaning. We want to grab for the vibration. We don't want to grab for the vibration. We want to allow the vibration to flow through us and see ourselves not so much as the sources of this, but kind of the what would be like a crystal vase, maybe holding this beautiful energetic light. And it's blue light, by the way. Lapis lazuli is blue. So think of us as a lens, camera lens. We're focusing the light with a wish for healing out into where? Out into the ether, out into space, out into our room, out into the street, outside the door, into the neighborhood. Send the light of Medicine Buddha, the healing energy that comes from these vibrations. That's the idea. Through me, not stopping with me, through me, setting up the proper, correct, solid, stable energy of the Buddha with his wisdom and compassion, sending it out into the world, using our minds like, this is always a very mundane example, like a cell phone tower, right? All directions. You don't cut off 30% of the broadcast field, right? You send it out all directions and let the light flow through us out to the world. Ready? You can read it on the screen there. Here we go. Namo Bhagavate Vaisajya Aidurya Prabharajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Vaisaje Mahabhaisaja Samudgate Swaha Om Bhagavate. Keep going. Vaisaja Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Vaisaje Mahabhaisaja Samudgate Swaha Om Namo, again, Bhagavate Vaisaja Aidurya Prabharajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Vaisaje Mahabhaisaja Samudgate Swaha. So that's our Medicine Buddha mantra, and make it yours. We'll record that and put it out. We'll let you know. Now, I also, you help in ways large and small. And I wanted to share this idea. We're in Australia, and Australia it's important. So we're going to go here, and then we're going to go back history here. It's important to help where you can. And in Australia, we have a little friend known as the bilby. Here's a bilby. Probably most of us, this will be the first time we've seen a bilby. And they're threatened. The light green on the map to the right here was the former territory of the bilby. And now the orange-brown is the current limited range of the bilby. They're almost gone. And bilbies are what are called a keystone species. Their protection is even more important before their survival increases the chances of 19 other threatened species who share the same habitats. If we lose the bilby, we lose 19 other species who depend upon the digging of the bilbies to keep things in balance and in harmony. Now, notice this logo, Save the Bilby Fund. That's where I am. The URL, Save the Bilby Fund, SAVETHEBILBY fund.com, savethebilbyfund.com. And I've got a friend here who's got a message for us. Good day, mates. Good day. Hi there, how are you? I'm fine, thanks. Yourself? She's right, right? Now, why have you come? Well, I want to say bilbies, not bunnies. Bilbies, not bunnies, right? Bilbies, long tail. See a tail? Long tail like this. Not a bunny rabbit tail, right? It's a bilby tail. Now, you tell them. You speak better American than you do Aussie. Okay, so I'll tell you. So the story is, bilbies are Australian. Bunnies are worldwide. Australia's got bunnies, but we had bilbies first, right? So Woolworths, which in Australia is a grocery store, not a five and dime, and Coles, two biggest stores, are on Easter coming up selling chocolate rabbits, not chocolate bilbies. Is that right? That's right. So they used to carry chocolate bilbies. There is a move here on the Save the Bilby Fund website to, here it is right here, bilbies, not bunnies, to get a petition for Woolies and Coles to go back to stocking chocolate bilbies. That's right. We want more chocolate bilbies, not bunnies. They used to carry them, not anymore. Look, the petition, 15,000 signatures on the petition to stock our beloved chocolate bilbies at Easter time. So, well done, mates. Glad you signed it. If you haven't signed it, sign it, right? There's still a week to Easter. Don't stop here. Get as many signatures as possible. Send as many emails to Coles and Woolies as we can. There's a pre-written email. You just need to click your name. And again, thank you all. Give our kids chocolate bilbies, not bunnies. Nothing against bunnies. Bunnies are good, but bilbies are better. I'm good in chocolate. So thank you very much. Goodbye. That's the message from our bilby buddy, right? So for years, you used to peel back the foil on a chocolate bilby, but then they just stopped stocking them and they started bunnies instead, but that's not special. So keep our Aussie icons alive and keep the real bilbies alive. We went to Lone Pine, or was it Featherdale? Went to Featherdale down in Sydney, down near Sydney, and saw the bilbies exhibit. And bilbies need our support, by golly. So I wanted to call upon Jin Chuan, Jin Wei, Jin He, Jin Fo, our hardworking staff, tireless staff at BBM, to talk a little bit about the practices that are now available at berkeleymonastery.org. Who would like to do that? Can somebody help me out here and give the story? I got the website up.
You want to go first? You have the Medicine Master Sutra lectures.
Why don't you just handle everything, Jin Chuan Sure? That'll be easier.
Okay, so if you look at the website, you can see Dharma Master has the BBM website. And so if you look at it, there's the daily schedule that you can participate in with the meditation, one recitation, then the morning ceremony, morning meditation, and the ground bell with Jing Fosher. And then below, you'll see the list of all our classes. You have Reverend Heng Sure doing the Avatamsaka Sutra lecture, which is right now happening. We have the Vajra Sutra lecture, which happens on Friday, 12:30 to 1:30. Then you have Marty Verhoeven doing his meditation and Avatamsaka lecture on Friday, 7:30. I don't know if Jing Hoshu wants to talk a little bit about it, but he'll be doing a lecture 3 times a week, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 5 to 5:45. So, and then Stephen Tainer. Oh, the other one that I think we didn't really point out last time as well is Jing Fosher will be lecturing the Infinite Life Sutra on Thursday nights, 7:30 to 9 p.m. And so he's, that's also happening. And if you go back to the other page, yeah. And then we have James Baraz is doing his Thursday night insight meditation, and Kevin Griffin is doing kind of Dharma recovery. This is kind of people who are recovering from some, maybe some addictions or various things. And so he's doing it twice a week, Tuesday 10 and Friday 7. Below we have classes by Chur Fosher and Doug Powers. So you pretty much have a Dharma lecture every day of the week if you wanted to. The rest of the website is probably a little bit out of date, but maybe 2 more resources, Dharma, to point out is your meditation podcast, and then the streaming the ceremonies from Berkeley Monastery. They're also starting to stream their ceremonies. So if you're interested, please go to the Berkeley Monastery website. The YouTube ceremonies are being broadcasted kind of publicly. We have a registration form for those who want a Zoom link. So if you just fill out the registration form, immediately the Zoom link for the classes will pop up. So you can find that there. We're kind of still working out all the details of the back end, but this is currently our arrangement.
Okay. And it's working. This is our first full week of implementing these offerings, and the response has been encouraging, and we've had relatively few glitches, and we still have some bugs to work out, but it is working. And I do want to point out to folks that there's 2 different apps here, 2 places to go to get the whole day. YouTube, which is the same as you're watching right now. If you're watching on Dharma Realm Live, you can go to YouTube. But then the special classes, meditation, chanting, bowing, ground bell, etc., are on Zoom meetings, and you have to register. Jin Hosher's lectures, Jin Fosher's lectures are on Zoom, and we register so that folks can avoid being interrupted by unwelcome Zoom bombers and things like that. And it's just, what's that?
Can I put out one more thing?
Yes.
I realized we didn't mention, you're actually on it right now. Jing Fosher will be doing the ground bell from 1:30 to 3 p.m. on Saturdays. Oh, you just went go back down. On Saturdays, that got added. 1:30 to 3 p.m. Amitabha recitation with ground bell.
Right here.
No, below.
Below.
Just go down to 10. Yep, there it is.
Okay.
So we added that as well. So if people want to join that, 1:30 to 3. Today we did it. I think about 30, 40 people participated.
90 minutes of reciting the Buddha's name with a bell and a wooden fish. Yeah, it's inspiring. Okay, there it is. Great. Do any of the bhikshus have something to add before we transfer merit? Anything at all about about Berkeley schedule, or anything to add? If not, appreciate everybody joining. Hold the light, recite Medicine Buddha's mantra, Namo Bhagavate, and also the Great Compassion Mantra was Master Hsuan Hua's recommendation for the best way to keep our hearts focused on in the right place. All right, so let's use our minds in that same way. Like a broadcast tower of goodness, sending out all of the merit and virtue of our coming together, and appreciate again Cliff and Sam on this end and Locke and Jerry on that end, making this broadcast possible. Okay, let's send out our merit and virtue. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Do one more. May all become compassionate and wise. So we're going to imagine we have the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and our teachers in front of us. We put our palms together. Care to join me? We can make 3 bows. One bow. Second bow. Third bow. And as our custom in Dharma Realm Buddhist Association, we bow to our teacher. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Second bow. Thank you for joining. See you all next week. Amitofo.